In the history of football in Germany, there are not many clubs that have played a bigger role than Werder Bremen. Founded in February 1899, Bremen is one of the original Bundesliga teams and has participated in most of the Bundesliga seasons since then. They are the third most successful German club, behind only Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich, with 4 German First Division title wins. As of 2020, the Green Whites had only been relegated from the First Division once in their history, back in 1980. But after a steady decline from 2010, they got relegated again in the 2021 season. That decline was the result of a financial crisis that stemmed from the club's inability to maintain squad quality and the absence of major trophies over an extended period of time. But first, let's take a look at the glory days. In 1965, the second official season of the Bundesliga, Bremen won the league title for the first time, led by the manager Willi Multharp. 15 years later, they were on the opposite end of the table, unsuccessfully staving off relegation to the second tier. It was the first relegation in the club's history, but they gained promotion back to the top flight at the first time of asking. What followed was 15 years of consistency and success under manager Otto Rehhagel.
Wir haben im Grunde genommen, wenn ich das so sagen will, dass wir mit unseren Möglichkeiten immer noch den Bayern einigermaßen Paroli geboten haben. Das ist wirklich eine echte Sensation. Wir haben im Grunde genommen für unsere Möglichkeiten viel zu gut gespielt.
Between 1981 and 1995, Otto Rehhagel won 2 more league titles for Werder Bremen, and they finished runners-up 4 times. In that time, they also won the DFB Pokal twice, the German Super Cup 3 times, and the Cup Winners' Cup once.
We won the cup! We won the cup! We won the cup!
Otto gained legendary status at Bremen for their performances during his time in charge of the club. One of such performances that stood out was a 5-1 demolition of Diego Maradona's Napoli in the 89-90 UEFA Cup. Napoli was the defending champion of the competition at the time. At the end of the 94-95 season, Otto left Bremen for rivals Bayern Munich, and he was replaced by Hans-Jürgen Dorna. Dorna's first season in charge did not go very well, as Bremen crashed to a 9th-placed finish after their runners-up spot in Otto's final year. The following season was not much better either, and Dorna was replaced by Wolfgang Sidka, who was then replaced by Thomas Schaaf after only 1 season in charge. Schaaf was Bremen's next long-serving manager, as he spent 14 consecutive years in charge of the club.
Ich denke, man nimmt gerne das an, was man erreicht. Und als wir auf dem ersten waren jetzt in den 14 Tagen, war das sicherlich eine sehr schöne Situation.
One of the first signings that he made, the €2.5 million signing of Aiton from the Mexican League, proved to be one of the most important too. Another signing made the following year, 20-year-old Claudio Pizarro from Alianza Lima for €1.5 million, went on to become a club legend despite leaving the club at various points of his career. In the summer of 2002, the signing of 29-year-old Johan Mikud from AC Parma for an undisclosed fee was crucial to the title charge a year later. Although he did well in his first season, his game went up another level in that title-winning season, as he scored 10 goals and laid on 8 more for teammates. He followed this up with 17 goal contributions in 04-05 and 23 goal contributions in 05-06, his final season at the club. At the time of his departure, Mikud was an important piece of Schaaf's team. However, he started to get homesick and was eventually allowed to return to France with Bordeaux for just €3 million. Those transfers in Schaaf's first 5 seasons in charge were key to Bremen's fourth Bundesliga win in 2004, at the expense of Bayern Munich, who finished 6 points behind in second place. After rising to the top of the table in game week 16, a 23-game unbeaten run ensured that Bremen did not relinquish their lead until the end of the season. A historical 3-1 away win at Olympiastadion München, Bayern's home stadium, in game week 32 sealed the title for the Green Whites. They raced to 3-0 within a 20-minute spell of dominance in the first half, and Bayern simply had no answers, bar a consolation goal from Roque Santa Cruz in the 56th minute. There was more success for Bremen that year as they completed the double by winning the DFB Pokal too. They beat clubs like Wolfsburg and Hertha Berlin on their way, and won the final against Aachen 3-2 courtesy of a brace from Tim Borowski and a goal from Ivan Klasnic. Bremen continued to finish in and around the top spots in the league, notably qualifying for the UEFA Champions League 6 times out of 7 until 2011. That year, they finished in 13th place in the league. Following 9th placed and 14th placed finishes in the subsequent 2 years, Schaaf was asked to resign, and he did on May 15, 2013, ending a 41-year association that started when he was only an 11-year-old youth player. In his time as the manager of Bremen, he won the league once, the DFB Pokal thrice, and the German League Cup, the DFL Liga Pokal, once.
Ich möchte es natürlich nicht verpassen, noch ein paar Worte zu sagen und mich vor allen Dingen zu bedanken bei all denen, die über die ganzen Jahre mit mir zusammengearbeitet haben, die mich in meiner Arbeit unterstützt haben, die, egal ob sie hier im Verein.
There is more than one reason why Bremen easily lost their place as one of the Bundesliga's best clubs as the years rolled by. One of those reasons is the business they did in the transfer window during their glory days. Over the course of Thomas Schaaf's reign, Bremen managed to pull off multiple coups in the transfer market by signing players that turned out to be brilliant for bargain prices. Examples of such signings include Diego, Thorsten Frings, Mesut Özil, Miroslav Klose, and Per Mertesacker. Miroslav Klose joined Bremen for €5 million at the age of 26 in 2004, and he was moved on to Bayern for €15 million after scoring over 60 goals in just 3 years at Bremen. Thorsten Frings was 28 years old when he joined the club from Bayern Munich for €5 million in 2005, so there was no real resale value on him. However, the fee was a bargain as he proved to be a really good signing for Bremen. Diego was 21 years old when he was signed for €6 million from Porto in 2006. He was sold to Juventus for €27 million 3 years later, after making over 130 appearances for Bremen. Per Mertesacker was also 21 years old when he was signed from a fellow German team, Hanover, for €4.7 million in 2006. 5 years and 200-plus appearances later, he was sold to Arsenal for €11.3 million. In January 2008, Thomas Schaaf bought Mesut Özil to the Weserstadion from Schalke for €5 million. He was sold to Real Madrid less than 3 years later for €18 million, after developing a reputation as one of the finest young playmakers in Europe. There is a pattern to these transfers by Werder Bremen. They often signed players with the intention to move them on for profit after developing their game and attracting some of the bigger clubs in Europe. While this business model seemed smart for the short-term financial goals of the club, it was myopic because it ensured that Bremen struggled to maintain the standards required to compete at a high level and win trophies regularly. As we've seen with many other clubs in similar situations, the constant reduction of quality and resulting lack of success on the pitch finally caught up with Die Grünwäsche. Between Thomas Schaaf's departure in 2013 and the 1920 season, Bremen had 4 different managers, but none of them managed to bring back any real semblance of success to the club. Their highest place finishes in that time were 8th in the 16-17 and 18-19 seasons. Their transfer market model was starting to fail, as they could not replicate the sort of success they'd had with bargain signings in the past. Instead, they made questionable signings that failed to impress on the pitch and sometimes even brought problems off it. Bremen started making losses and piling up debt as a result of this transfer model failure. The profit from sales were not coming in anymore, and the revenue from competitions was not enough due to poor performances. Things went from bad to worse during the coronavirus pandemic of 2020. Fans could not attend games anymore, and clubs lost revenue in ticket sales as a result. It hit Bremen harder than clubs with a more stable financial situation, as they lost up to 1.1 million euros per game. After a close relegation scare in the 1920 season, Bremen finally got relegated to the second division in 2021. They finished 17th on the league table with a mere 31 points from 34 games, and Kofeld was sacked. Things went full circle as Thomas Schaaf, who up till then had returned to the club in the role of technical director, took charge of Bremen as caretaker manager in their last game of the 2021 Bundesliga season.
Konstellationen gibt, wo etwas einen Lauf nimmt, wo man es dann nicht verhindern kann und wo man sich der Situation dann leider...
It was a last-ditch attempt to pip Cologne to the relegation playoff spot, but the attempt failed as Bremen fell to a 4-2 defeat at home to Borussia Mönchengladbach. Results elsewhere also went against them as Cologne defeated Schalke by 1-0. For the first time in 40 years, and the second time in their history, Werder Bremen were relegated to the second division. It's never happy days when a club with such a rich history begins to decline so miserably. Considering the fact that many clubs have managed to get away with the model of being a selling club, supporters of the Green Whites may also have an extra reason to feel hard done by. As of 2021, the club is up to its neck in debts tallying up to 75 million euros, and the proverbial light at the end of the tunnel seems to have been snuffed out completely. However, Bremen have had to live with the consequences of their decisions, and there is none other to blame than themselves for it.